It's on. All right, so at 6 o'clock, we can call to order. Community Multipurpose Field Building Committee for March 23rd, 2023 in the main meeting room. Do you want to take a roll call? Michelle Domingo.
Dana Bennett.
Kathy Welslick.
Mark McKinney.
Mary Beth Allen. All right, the minutes were sent out from last week's meeting, March 16th, 2023. We have a motion to approve.
We should apply for.
What's that? Yes, we can. Yep, sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will add that to the next agenda. Okay, back to approval of minutes. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion, questions? Okay, passes. All right, reports, Chairman, I have no reports at this time. Any reports from First Selectman?
We've developed the contract and given a draft to Wes Greenleaf, who's our potential clerk of the works. We have a special meeting scheduled tomorrow for the Board of Selectmen at noon to approve the contract so we can sign it with Wes, depending on how we proceed.
And any Board of Ed report at this point? No, okay. All right. Moving on to new business. So update on Board of Ed appointed member to this committee. So Marty Osga has been appointed by the Board of Ed as of Tuesday, the 21st. So he'll join this meeting. I've updated the membership list for the folks here, so we have that. Moving on to 4B, discussion, possible action on expectations for Clerk of the Works reporting. So and we'll discuss confirmation of the Clerk of the Works after this, but I think it'd be good to discuss and decide on what the expectations are for reporting for Clerk of the Works, what we're looking to have them report in, how often, format, whatever, that sort of thing.
I don't know if this is the right place to say it, but a couple of things that I'd like to make sure. I'd like to make sure the proof of insurance is in place, the bond's in place, the schedule of values. So when the bills come in, we can go off the schedule of values. And I think that should be done. Actually, I think that should have been done before work was started.
That is in place.
What's in place?
The insurance, the bonds, they're all in place.
And schedule of values.
I don't,
They did send it.
did they send us that? Okay.
Okay. That satisfy everything you
Well,
were
if we can
asking?
get copies for
Yep.
everybody.
Yeah, you have all
later
that
on.
to send out to everybody, or Eric to
I-
send out.
Yeah, we do have copies of those things.
All right. Okay. All right, so Clerk of the Works reporting. What would we like to see for reporting and how often, what format do we want it in? That sort of thing. And what standard, I guess we could start there with what is standard,
Guess the first question would be how many or how often are we gonna meet?
that too.
You know,
Yeah,
it
that's
kinda
on
goes
here as
hand in
well.
hand,
Yeah,
right?
yep. No, that's.
I
on
would
here
say
too.
I want to report every meeting. Does that make sense to everyone? I mean, that's.
I would agree with
that.
I would expect that at minimum, yeah.
And obviously, if anything comes up in the meantime, tell us right away.
Any updates?
Yeah.
Yep.
Any issues.
All right. So do we want to make a motion then to have Clerk of the Works updates prepared for each field committee meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. All right. And then to your point, discussion possible action on committee meeting schedule. Given this is a quick moving project, they've already started and it's scheduled to be completed in August, right? At this point.
Potentially earlier.
Okay, even better. All right, so it's gonna be quick moving, so.
Right.
How often do we want to meet? That's not gonna be too much, but
Right.
is gonna be enough. where we want to get updates. Be able to stay on top of oversight and everything.
Do you think every couple weeks is
That's what I was
enough?
I was thinking every 2 weeks. I think weekly would be a little much.
Yeah.
Well, I think in the beginning, it's gonna move faster than you think it is, and then you can start making them go further apart.
back.
That's a good point. That's a good.
That's my
point.
opinion.
All right, so do we want to start off with every 2 weeks at this point and make them on Thursdays? This time seems to work for everybody. 6 p.m.
Works for me.
Thursdays every 2 weeks.
I think the first 2 or 3 should be every week, and then see how it goes. That's all. That's just mine. Because I think a lot's gonna move pretty quickly in the beginning. You agree?
Yeah, no, Martin, I think that's a good point, yeah.
All right.
I think maybe at least for the next 2 weeks, we meet and then. We see if there's really nothing to talk about, then, take from there, but
Okay,
as it begins, I think Martin's got a good point,
okay. So we're looking at March 30th and April 6th at this point.
Sure.
And then we can assess at the April 6th meeting
yeah.
and decide if we want to continue weekly or every 2 weeks.
Does that work for everyone?
Is there any way on the 6th we can move it up to 5, if that works for everybody?
That's
Yeah.
That works for me. Anyone else on the board?
That
Have a
works-
problem
that
with-
works for me, yeah,
April 6th at 5 o'clock.
no,
So are you good with that?
You want to do them all at 5, so we're not doing them at different times, or do you want to just that one?
I'm open, whatever's gonna work for everybody. I know everyone's got busy schedules,
Yeah,
so
let me see what we have for rooms too, so that might. I think we can probably work around it.
if this room isn't available, then
Yeah, we'll move
upstairs
upstairs.
usually, right? Yep. Okay, so do we want to say 5 PM across the board, just to make it consistent, but well, for the next two?
If that works.
That works for everybody?
works for me, yeah.
Mary Beth, you good with, well, you're not here next week.
Here
Okay,
next week, and I don't know, sometimes we have a school building,
on Thursdays.
right, Sean?
Mhm.
We have
It's
that,
the second Thursday of the month. I
right,
would.
and
Okay.
we started.
We'll make it work. They start at 5 though.
I
Yeah.
know they started.
So I have the next school building committee on the 13th at 5,
Right.
as of right
Right.
now.
We may, do a special meeting.
Okay.
We only meet once a month.
We have on the 6th, we have 2 other meetings in the building, one at 6 and one at 6:30. So
So 5
a
would work.
building would, so 5 o'clock would work.
Okay. So we'll stick with March 30th, April 6th, 5 PM.
Yeah, let's do it.
And assess April 6th whether to maintain weekly or. Okay, okay. All right. Moving on to old business, discuss possible action on confirming clerk of the works appointment based on credentials and billing information. This was left over from our last meeting.
So I brought, Wes was kind enough to prepare his credentials for us. I brought a copy of that for everyone. And in the contract is, when you're talking about billing, oh, heck, I just send all those down. In the contract that we had drafted up, I think that, we had talked about Wes submitting something to us bi-weekly. And, then we would draft a check every 10 days, so. Does that work? That work for you? Your appointment here?
Okay, so bi-weekly report and payment every 10 days. So what was? what you said
Yeah,
was
it
in
would
the
be
draft
with
contract?
hours, a report of his hours and such. right?
Okay. All right, any questions or discussion? You said you're meeting tomorrow to finalize the contract?
Correct, at 12 o'clock noon. The board of selectmen will approve that, and then I haven't talked to Wes yet about what
Does he work
he's
for us, or
available.
does he work for the board of selectmen? Apply for it.
The selectmen would sign the contract.
Do we have to vote to make it official? or-
Yeah. Yeah, because it was pending.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the supervision of the clerk of the work should be this board. That should not be the board of selectmen.
Yeah,
Because
so-
basically, we're sitting here with nothing to say or nothing to do. The board of selectmen are gonna run the show.
So, and according to the charge that we agreed upon last week, says the overriding objective of the field committees to receive updates and reports from clerk of the works, make decisions as necessary to keep the project on track and on budget.
Right.
So and it says we're charged with appointing the clerk of the works to assist with the oversight. So yeah, it sounds like it would be going through this committee, no?
Yeah, I think that with the charge of the decision making, we'd want reports from Wes and to make decisions accordingly. Yeah.
But the contract would go through Board of Selectmen?
Well, I think the first selectman would have to sign the contract for the town.
Okay.
May I speak?
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody.
Oh, sorry,
experienced
the
this
chair. I'm
committee?
sorry.
That's okay. I'm sorry. Can
The
you,
building committee, they all report to you, they answer to you, they report to you. All the people that you hire, recommendations go to the board of selectmen and they sign the contracts, but they do work for you.
okay, thank you. All right. Okay, and that's in line with what the charge is, so that's consistent. All right, any other questions?
Well, I think we need to make it like official that he's.
Of course, yep, but
Okay.
before we do that, I
Gotcha.
just want to be sure
Understood.
we're all on the same page first. Any other discussion or question? All right, so then do we have a motion to appoint Wes Greenleaf as clerk of the works for the community multipurpose field project?
I make that motion.
Any objections? Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Welcome to the team. All right. Discussion, possible action on groundbreaking ceremony. I think we're kind of already past that point. I don't know if there's anything we could do. I mean,
At that point,
yeah,
everything's
it's-
roped off
it-
and.
yeah.
Getting gold shovels.
Can't even get down there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't, I mean, at this point, it would just be, I don't see a point in it unless anyone else has any suggestions or anything. Okay. All right, and then update and discussion and or possible action on the proposed bill number 698 submitted by Senator Heather Summers. So we touched on this last week. So Senator Summers did submit a bill for to the State Bond Commission to authorize bonds not to exceed $2 million. And I know there's some question, confusion as to if that were to be approved, does that money need to go to Board of Ed or the school building committee, which obviously we're not using that for this project, or can those funds come to us? And I know there's
For the bond,
some.
Board of
well,
Ed, I know, Board of Ed or the town.
No, Senator
Senator,
Summers, so.
yeah,
No, I got that part.
The board of Ed, Sean and I met with Senator Summers on Zoom twice.
Okay,
And Sean is reaching out to her, but as we all know, she's really busy at the state capitol. And so we will connect with her. We just don't have the answers tonight.
all right.
So the question is, does it have to be changed because of the,
Right, what can we do? My concern is if we leave it as is and we get the $2 million, it gets approved and it can't be transferred to this committee based on statutes or ordinance or whatever, then we just accept that risk of not taking the $2 million. And then what do we tell the residents at that point? You know, that's my concern.
Well,
Yeah.
again, we've reached out to her. We
Yeah.
will get the answers that we need.
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
I think there's gotta be a way to revamp it on her end. I'm sure she's
That's what-
aware, yeah.
That's why I wanted to bring it
Have a
up.
Conversation.
Right,
with
as
her.
long as
Again,
she's, right.
she's really, I know she's really busy up for the capital
Understood.
legislation
Yeah.
session and working on bills.
All right, so we can table this then. I'll add it to the next agenda and
Hopefully Sean and I will be able to connect with her, even if I'm on vacation, I have my laptop, I can connect with Zoom with her.
okay, all right. Yeah, I don't want to let that go. I don't want to get in a
Yeah.
position where we
It's like a
miss out
daily
on
question,
potential.
a daily discussion Sean and I have.
Okay.
That's great.
All right, good. Okay. All right, so we will table that. Okay. All right, number 6, any other business that may come before the committee?
So, thank you, Madam Chairperson. We have updated the Board of Education website. There's a photo gallery there with photos from the past couple of days. There's a letter that went out to the community. Glenn I was in a meeting, so Glenn met with the subcontractor Earth Dynamics to ensure that they were safely on campus and they were credentialed. He also met with Andrew Dijak. There's a little bit of an update on preserving some of the lights, correct?
Yes. Today they took down the lights there with the crane.
Yep.
As I said before, we're going to try to save some of those light bulbs. They also work on our softball field, maybe the ballast. The way they were able to take many of them down without breaking things. So tomorrow our maintenance crew is going to grab, a dozen or so of the bulbs. So we have those to
Perfect.
repurpose. And also the fencing that came down has all been rolled up. We're saving the fencing and we're going to do some work on the baseball field. Using that fencing that's still in good shape to replace some of the fencing on the baseball field that is.
Good.
needs replacing.
That's great.
I like that. Cool.
Can I just ask
Repurposing
a
it.
question about the lights? Are the poles still usable? Like, could we donate them to another community organization, or are they?
Kind of cut them. They get them
I
off.
thought that they mentioned that they weren't any good anymore once we took them down,
Yes.
but I just wanted to confirm.
They tried and
Yeah, they have to cut them to angle it and get it off the bases. And we were fortunate they were able to lay them down so we could get some of the bulbs.
May I ask a question? We had talked at one time about putting a dumpster over there from Public Works is that something we still need to do? to
Yeah, I
try
think
and-
so. I think there will be some.
Okay.
else that we can throw in there.
Okay, I've already reached out to Todd to see if that's something we could do, so we'll get that moving.
there's also a frequently asked questions. So once we get questions from the committee, different people in the community, we put the question up there and the answer. I'd just like to sort of speak on Mr. Greenleaf's behalf. I've worked with him since the second district. He's done projects in Groton, North Stonington, as well as Clinton Public Schools. He's a consummate professional and also the clerk that works for the Alternative School Committee. And I know Dana's been going back and forth with the field trip. I do have those documents. I'm sure she'll forward them, but if anyone wants to see the proof of insurance, the bonds, or the continuation sheet, I'm happy to share those with you.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Eric.
I just want to update on the insurance. We had our insurance broker look everything over. They're okay. They had a couple of suggestions to change on the certificate of insurance. So I sent it back to Andrew yesterday. They sent me a revised copy. So our broker's happy with everything that's been sent over.
Great.
So insurance is in place, though, yes?
Yes.
Okay, it's just being revised at this point.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, it's just a certificate of insurance was revised.
Okay. All right,
Something with subrogation,
okay.
something to protect us better.
Well, that's always good. Okay. All right. John, did you have something? to say?
Yeah, I just left a new copy of that. It was just a couple of check boxes.
Oh, did you have a copy of the
I
new?
have the one that I know that Dan Anderson was talking about.
Right.
Separation. I don't, and I think there were a couple of changes that Andrew had to make, so if I could get a copy of that.
Yeah,
that'd be helpful.
Yeah, we can email that all to everybody tomorrow
I
then.
appreciate
Yeah,
that. Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, so will be, the bonds, the insurance, scheduled values, all will be emailed out to everybody, right? You said you
Right.
have all that, okay. All right. All right,
Well,
any other?
yeah, so. I mean, I don't know if anyone here can speak on it, but I guess since we're meeting next week, what's the next week looking like? Does anyone know as far as?
I can speak to that and talking to Nancy. A lot of demo fencing today, lights, getting those things down. They're planning to start hauling the dirt and all those things to the area that we're going to put it on campus.
Great.
It's hoped by end of next week to have all of the earth off of the field.
Oh.
And start the next process of getting the other drainage and that stuff. That's his hope by next Friday to be done with that. Which
Excellent.
he said at that point, really the trucking on campus will be pretty low.
Yeah.
And we have it marked off where they can go to drop it in the safe areas. So
Great.
Wow, so by the end of next week, all the earth will be removed
That's
and,
so-
and drainage will be started?
Well, they'll
Is that what
start
you're saying?
laying some of that stuff and
Okay.
getting the drainage pipes, starting that process.
It's going quick.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's going quickly. That's great.
Okay. Awesome. All right, any other business? No, okay, moving on to number 7, public forum. Guys,
Frank Everett, 51 Leicester Road. Couple suggestions. You schedule your meeting, since it's a short duration project every week. It's much easier to cancel a regular meeting to try to schedule one in time space.
yeah, that's true.
That way you have it set. In the beginning, you're gonna need meet more frequently, then as go on, you can get off.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion.
Thank you.
I would caution, when they go down there with all the trucks, since they're not liable to any damage to our pavement, that we make sure that that's watched, that we don't incur damage payment that we have to repair unless a contract with that firm is changed.
Do we have, do you know the wording for that?
Eric,
Yeah.
Sean
we have-
might have
we
the
to
answer.
take that out of the exclusion,
So they
and
are.
they said they will at least put it back to
Yes.
the condition it was.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's great.
I have a question on the funding. Is this bonded to the state?
No,
This is privately funded through the town of Griswold, 100% our funds?
correct, as of now, correct.
Outside of the,
Okay, I just
For
wanted to
having
make sure,
the-
because if it's bonded to the state, then obviously we would borrow. And if Heather got us 2 million, we wouldn't have to borrow.
Right.
But clearly, I think that language implies that money's supposed to go to the project. Whoever goes to it ultimately should go right there, it's not come out of taxpayers.
Mhm.
This pocket is gonna come out of this pocket.
yeah, essentially.
All I,
All right, thank you. All right, no other public forum? Wes, is there anything you wanted to say? Since now you're appointed and you're raring to go
No, it's like.
after tomorrow? Okay. All right. Motion to adjourn. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
All
All right. Thank you, guys.
right, thank you.
Yeah. It's gonna be quick.